Welcome back to the Elegant Warrior. Today, I am going to share one sentence that will get you to have those high stake conversations that you've been avoiding, even if you don't want to. As you know, I'm Heather Hansen, and this is the channel where you learn communication skills for those high stake conversations. I take the knowledge that I'm giving you here today comes from a whole lot of my background and experience. It's 20 years as a trial attorney. It's a psychology degree. It is certification in dispute resolution and conflict resolution. It is time as a TV anchor communicating on camera. And it's my certification as a coach and my certification as a hypnotist, which allows me to come to you with these skills. And today we are talking about the one sentence that is going to allow you to have these conversations when you don't feel like it. So that sentence is, you might not like it, but you're going to have to stay with me. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. Listen, I spend a lot of time giving you tools to manage your emotions and to believe something different so that you are more likely to want to have these conversations. Or if you don't want to have them, to at least be open to it and not dread it and hate it. But there are going to be some conversations that you are going to dread. It might be going in to receive feedback that you know is going to be bad. It might be knowing that you're going to get fired and having to have that conversation. It might be going in for an interview that you are just dreading. There are some conversations that we can't think our way out of and we can't feel our way out of. And in those conversations, the answer is to do it anyway. Now, here's why you want to do it anyway and not just run away and hide and not have the conversation, other than the fact that you probably have no choice, really. The real reason, there's three of them, and they all circle around the topic of evidence. Now, I talk about evidence all the time. If you've ever coached with me or been a member of one of my memberships, you know I am obsessed with evidence because it is evidence that we use to prove things. In the courtroom, it's all about the evidence. And in your life, it's all about the evidence as well. And if you know how to collect and create evidence to support the things that you want to believe or that you want others to believe, you become more persuasive, you become more influential, you become more charismatic, and you start to get the things that you want. So evidence is the secret sauce to these communication skills. And doing it anyway is amazing evidence of three things that you need to believe to be a better communicator. The first thing it's evidence of, when you do it anyway, you are dreading this conversation. You don't want to have it. You want to hide from it. You want to just not show up at work. You want to just quit your job rather than getting that feedback. But you do it anyway. The first thing that's evidence of is that you can do hard things. This is life-changing. When I was young, I lost 100 pounds. I talk about that more than I even want to. But the reason I talk about it and share it is because it allowed me early in my life, in my 20s, to have evidence that I can do hard things. And now every time I'm faced with something hard that I don't want to do, I know that I can do hard things because I lost 100 pounds and kept it off. It is evidence to me, really strong evidence, weighty evidence, evidence that has persuasive power over me that I can do hard things. When you have this conversation that feels difficult, that feels impossible, and you do it, it is evidence that you can do hard things. So do it for that. Don't do it because the conversation is going to end well. Maybe it won't, but do it to prove to yourself as evidence that you can do hard things. That is the first reason that you should do it anyway. It is evidence that you can do hard things. Number one. Number two, it's evidence that feelings aren't fatal. I think in the last few years, some of us, myself included, have gotten a little bit soft. We embrace this soft life and we feel like we don't want to burn out, and therefore I shouldn't have to do anything that I don't feel like doing. And there's a lot of times I don't feel like doing the things I need to do. I don't feel like working out. I don't feel like getting up. I don't feel like turning off the television. I don't feel like reading the book instead of scrolling through Instagram. And that feeling way too often lately has been holding me back. And so do it anyway is one of my mantras for 2026. Act, Do it anyway. You don't feel like it? Do it anyway. You feel like doing something else? Do it anyway. To prove to yourself, let it be evidence that feelings aren't fatal. I might feel bored. I might feel frustrated. I might feel scared. I might feel angry. I might feel embarrassed. One of my least favorite feelings is embarrassed. But I have felt embarrassed before. I have felt embarrassed in front of juries. I have felt embarrassed in front of keynote audiences. I have felt embarrassed when I was on TV one time and I just lost my words. I felt like Cindy Brady, this shows my age, in that episode where the red light went on and she couldn't speak. I was embarrassed and it wasn't fatal. And now I have that evidence that feelings aren't fatal. And every time I don't want to have a conversation and I do it anyway, it gives me more evidence that feelings aren't fatal. And that is going to be so helpful to you the next time that you don't want to do something, or you're afraid, or you're angry. That feeling can be felt. You can feel your way through it and you can move on. So, do it anyway is our mantra. And the first reason we're going to do it anyway is just for evidence that we can do hard things. Not because this is a very important distinction. Because if you go into the conversation thinking, I'm going to get what I want, or it's going to be easy, or I'm going to say everything perfectly, then you're going to leave that conversation disappointed. But if you go into the conversation saying, no matter what happens in this conversation, it's evidence that I can do hard things, you win. If you go into this conversation saying it's evidence that feelings aren't fatal, you win because you survived the conversation. You did the hard thing. Now there isn't so much burden and weight on the conversation itself because you've won no matter what. I love this. I love this. This is the way that I embrace all of the hard things. It is truly how I have lost that weight, run a marathon, done a triathlon, written 2 books, got certified in Pilates, started this YouTube channel, started my podcast, started my business. It's all because no matter what happens in those endeavors, even if I don't finish the marathon, don't do the triathlon, starting it is proof that I can do hard things. Starting it when I don't feel like it is proof that feelings aren't fatal. Writing a book and putting it out there in the world and putting it out there in Amazon for all of you to review and say bad things about it if you wanted to is proof that feelings aren't fatal. If I'm embarrassed when it's out there for the whole world to see, that feeling is not fatal. And doing these things, having these difficult conversations is going to have you believing that feelings aren't fatal as well. So do it anyway. That's our sentence. Do it anyway. The third thing that this is evidence of, it can be evidence that these conversations aren't that difficult. Many times my one-on-one coaching clients or the people that I work with in organizations, they tell me, I thought it was going to be so hard. And while it wasn't fun and it didn't end the way that I wanted it to, it wasn't that hard. I could do that again. It's fabulous evidence that what we think is difficult, what we think is hard, isn't always that difficult or that hard. And so then the next time that difficult or hard thing comes up, you will be in a position to say, I've done this before. I have evidence that I'm often wrong when I think things are going to be hard, and it makes doing it so much easier. So the mantra facing these conversations, if you can't do what we've done in other episodes and believe a new belief and work with mothering the animal of your body to feel better about it, then just get out there and do it anyway. Do it for yourself and not to have the perfect conversation and say everything perfectly, but you do it to prove to yourself that you can do hard things, that feelings aren't fatal, and that ultimately it may not be as difficult as you believe. So use that sentence. Do it anyway. And this doesn't just apply to these difficult conversations that we talk about here on The Elegant Warrior. It also applies to working out when you don't want to, turning off the phone, hiding the phone, staying off the phone for a full day. You don't feel like it? Do it anyway. Now, every week I give you a tool for today. This is a tool that you can use same day. I want these tips, these episodes to be actionable that day for you. And today's tool for today is use evidence to support your dreams. When I work with people one-on-one, I send them what's got their name on it, and it will say Heather's Evidence Journal. And we talk about how to collect and create evidence and play with it to use it to our advantage. So doing it anyway is evidence of the fact that you can do hard things. It's evidence of the fact that feelings aren't fatal. It's evidence of the fact that it might not be that hard. What else can you collect and create as evidence to support you going for your dreams? We'll be talking about this more because when you are communicating to others and facing these difficult conversations, which is what we're going to start talking about next week, you're going to want to use evidence to persuade and influence other people as well. So if you get good at using it with yourself, you will be even better at using it with others. Next week, we are going to dive into some of the proven tools that make you more charismatic. But for this week, I want you to remember the mantra, do it anyway. Let me know how it works for you. You can email me, heather@elegantwarrior.com, comment below the YouTube, or comment. My Instagram is also an Elegant Warrior. I want to know what you're struggling with so I can do episodes to give you actionable tools for today that you can use. I'll be back next week, but in the meantime, as always, take good care.